She's got a lot of energy, and she can tell you a story like and not miss any detail. The stuff that, how do you remember the color of the paint on the wall in the back room or whatever it is. So yeah, it's fun to listen to her stories, and her mind is just a catalog of everything that Pat's told her, all the stories from his time in Hawaii and all this. So she shares a lot of that with me because Pat obviously doesn't say that much. He's normally on the other end of the phone, and she'll say, "Hey Pat, say hi to Paul," and then he and I will chat a little bit, and that's a little bit will be like 5 words, and just, oh, it's so good to hear from you, like that, but yeah, so how they got to the spot. I mean, of course, it's a extremely complex situation, and I know for a fact that the whole Curren family has been trying to help out with Pat and Mary for a long time, right? Yeah. Like I just kind of joined this conversation with Mary and Pat 7 months ago, and of course the difficulties and the struggles with the family have preceded me for decades. So
I mean, Pat seems. Well, it seems like Pat. Well, it seems like Pat is, particularly Pat, has been very independent. No, and I imagine
sure.
it's really it must be really difficult for him to accept help. And that must be a tough thing for them.
I think that if you spoke to anyone who knew Pat well, they would say the same thing, that he's a tough guy, and he can normally do it on his own. Now, when you get to a point of being 88 years old and having lived a really hard life and done a lot of the stuff that a lot of people only dream of doing, that at some point you're gonna need to ask for help, right? And I know that the events that have led up to them getting to the trailer park in California, that he had multiple near-death experiences, broken pelvis. I think that, sorry, I don't want to misstate anything, but a lot of really difficult moments in hospitals where he was basically, they were going to call him dead, right? And somehow the guy's still here. So, that makes celebrating his 88th birthday all the more special. Yeah. The guy is, one of the toughest people I've ever met.
And he's pretty with it still. Like, all his faculties are he's pretty sharp still, right?
It's incredible. Yeah. I've seen him still trying to, he's still shaping. I've seen him, before COVID happened, he was able to get into a couple friends' shaping bays, right, to work on a blank here and there. And it's just beautiful to see him still at work at that age, his hands on the blank and the focus that he still has, and how much you can tell that this man isn't doing it, he's living it. It is part of this man's just how he exists in the world, is creating beautiful lines and beautiful shapes. And so that's why every day, even though he can't get into a shaping bay because he doesn't have the space himself, and because of the whole pandemic, he can't go and work anybody else's shop, he's out there outside their trailer just slowly trimming away at a template, for hours and hours. And Mary's calling him in to have some water and get hydrated, and he wants to keep working, and that's how it is. So,
well, I imagine it must be really difficult for Mary. Like, she's having to take care of their daughter with special needs. Does their daughter require, like, round the clock? Does she have to be watching her round the clock?
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, she has to keep her eyes on their daughter at all times, and kind of keep her eye on Pat as well.
Well, that's what I'm
You know,
saying. She's
because,
taking care of
yeah,
both. So she's not really
exactly.
able
Yeah.
to go work or do anything because
Oh
she
no,
has her hands
no.
full already.
She has more than her hands full. I don't know how she does it. And then she'll be carrying on a conversation with me while, you know, trying to take care of both of them and in the background. And, you know, oftentimes she'll just be like, sorry, I got to go real quick. And then she'll come back a couple minutes later. Oh, so sorry. I had to go get Keely. She was running off to the bathroom or this or that. So, I really feel for her, and you know, everybody has their limit, right? And
That's a lot.
I just feel like she had gotten to that point because, you know, ever since the beginning that we started talking, I could tell that there was a big need, right?
Yeah.
And what I would try to do, most conversations that I had with her, I'd say, how can I help you, Mary? What can I do? You know, because I want to help, but you got to tell me how I can help, because I know that, you know, people are comfortable with certain ways that people help, and it's not only presumptuous, but maybe not productive to try to help people in a way that you think makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I would ask her, how can I help you? And she would say, oh, just prayers, you know, just say some prayers for us, you know, that things will change. And so that was, you know, kind of all that she would entertain in terms of any kind of help for a very long time, until it got to this point where it looked like, you know, just about a week ago, it was looking like they might get kicked out of their trailer because they were so back in rent.
Now, where are they in California? What area?
In Southern California, I think in Encinitas area.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so it looked like they were going to get kicked out, and I know that they have no money except for, you know, what the family's able to afford to help them with.
Yeah.
And I'm positive that they're giving as much as they can. But again, nobody has bottomless funds, and nobody also, like, it's just so difficult to deal with a child that's nonverbal and with these kind of special needs.
Yeah.
People need help, you know, and it's like Mary's just out there on her own. So that's why we wanted to do this. You know, I talked to Mary about the idea, and, you know, she doesn't have anything to do, has no concept of what Instagram is or any of the stuff. I've tried to kind of explain it, and she's like, what? Like, how do people even find each other? How does this even work? So I tried to sort of help her understand what a GoFundMe kind of project would look like.
Yeah.
I think that she probably Googled it on her own, started to understand, because of course at the beginning, no, we don't need any help. We don't want any help. That Pat doesn't want anything to do with this. Then as we started to talk about it more, you know, she was like, this could work. Let's like just go slow. It's always real slow. Got to go slow with Pat. Don't want to rush anything. It's got to be right timing, all that.
Yeah.
100% respect that. And I think that, yeah, so the first time that I probably mentioned it might have been a month prior to that. And it wasn't until 3 weeks later or a month later that she was finally like, she got excited about maybe doing a shirt to offer people. And I'm sure that she wasn't expecting, you know, people to donate $35,000 in basically 2 days, which is, I mean, none of us were expecting that. But, you know, I set the goal on the GoFundMe at $100,000 because I thought, well, why the hell not? Why not shoot super high?
Yeah.
But I think that this all hit a different level of intensity when you know, you start to get to the $10,000 mark, $20,000 mark. Oh, then it starts to, I think that it has a different weight to it, right? The gravity is different, maybe from like the whole family's perspective and all that. So, yeah, we're gonna try to be really, really careful with, obviously all the funds are Pat and Mary's, but we want to help them because, you know, as you can imagine, I don't think that either Pat or Mary have ever had that kind of money, right, in a bank account.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be a little tricky if you're not used to seeing those kind of numbers, or what do we do with this kind of money? And we want to help them try to navigate that as well if we can. And you know, there are other people that can do that too, and we're more than happy to get advice from whoever. But it's it's exciting. They're definitely very moved by everybody's donations, and you know, have been brought to tears. Not Pat, but Mary brought to tears, and she said that.
Let's clarify that for a second, all right? Cannot tarnish his most badass, you know, image here.
Yeah, no way. But she said that he was floored with all the support and just how many people had donated, and all the comments. You know, they're following along with the GoFundMe page because they don't have the Instagram to kind of see all the comments, and so it's been really meaningful to them. So she's actually calling me right now.
Oh wow!
But,
you want to patch her in?
Yeah, just surprise her. Quick interview, Mary.
We're recording and we want to hear, you know. Yeah. The thing is, I guess, like there's been obviously some skeptical people online,
sure.
You know, that I've seen you had to field a lot of concerns. And I imagine that was something you weren't expecting as much, maybe. It tends to get a life of its own sometimes.
Totally. Yeah. You know, when I say that I wasn't expecting it to kind of blow up like this, or have this kind of, like, I'm not surprised, but I'm impressed by how much, you know, support there's been in a really relatively small amount of time. So, you know, when you have that many people all kind of seeing the same post, and of course you're always going to get the people who are skeptical or pessimistic, or think that maybe you're out for your own gain, or you just want to, you know, whatever. So not at all surprised by that either. When you just have that many eyes on you in social media world. But so that stuff doesn't really faze me. I'm not worried about it. I know that our intention is pure, right? Like if I was really trying to just, like, well, first of all, we have had 0 board sales since this happened. It has nothing to do, as little to do with us as we want it to, right? We don't want this to be about Paul Surf or anything like that. It's supposed to be about Pat, his legacy, you know, what he contributed to our culture and to our community, right? And just giving back, out of the kindness of everybody's hearts. Pat, before you're gone, just a little, you know, gesture of what you mean to all of us, and how you've inspired, you know, so many generations that have come after you. So, you know, if we were doing it to get more publicity, I think that we could have done a better job at, like, maybe spending some money on some advertisements instead. Yeah. But we've done a great job of raising money for them. So
it's amazing. And you know, I think the concern is like the money and how they'll handle it, and how, you know, I mean, it's their money, I guess, but how you guys will try to help them to budget. And, you know, I hope you guys are consulting some maybe some financial advisors for them.
Totally.
They can talk to.
That's exactly what we were thinking. Yeah. Trying to set them up with, I mean, maybe there's somebody out there who will hear this, but we definitely want to find, you know, a financial advisor that can help them, maybe not just manage the money, but maybe even invest it or set some aside for the daughter, or, you know, whatever kind of needs that they might have in the future for Pat's medical bills and things like this. So that is 100% on our radar. And I actually spoke with Pat's brother today, and he and I you know, because he was concerned about the same thing, about how they would manage the money. And so we just had a brief conversation about